Hello, today I will be talking about an in-depth look presentation on wedding cultures. This is by Mallory Gore for Com 245 for Dr. Miller. So, objectives. By the end of this presentation, I would like for you to be able to understand the difference between different cultures and their weddings, to gain knowledge regarding the history behind different wedding cultures, and lastly, to understand how wedding cultures and intercultural communication is actually related. Introduction. So, my personal interest. I chose to research this topic because ever since I was a little girl, weddings have always interested me. I grew up going to many weddings with my parents. My sister is 10 years older than me, and so she planned a wedding when I was only 12 years old, and I actually got to help out with her for that wedding. So I learned a lot during that time and really loved just being organized and detail oriented. I kind of noticed that was my thing. So for a while there, before I became a speech language pathology major, I really wanted to be a wedding planner. I really enjoy watching shows such as For Weddings and also Say Yes to the Dress. And through those shows, you can see a lot of intercultural communication and how for weddings, there's 4 different brides and everyone's kind of judging each other's wedding, but also respecting the fact that everyone has different interests and comes from different cultures. So that's also been a really great show for me to watch. Wedding cultures. So I'm not only interested, of course, in typical American weddings, but also many different cultures and the rituals for each of those weddings as well. So in my opinion, part of intercultural communication can be done through actually talking about weddings. So the subject topic of weddings is a very great kind of first subject, I think, to talk about when in an intercultural communication type of situation. So most people really enjoy weddings, therefore that is why it is such a great topic subject. And it allows others to understand your culture and kind of what's important to you. So the importance. Why should we understand others and their wedding culture? I'm going to let you think about that for about 5 seconds. So, it is important to understand others and their wedding rituals because this is what makes them uniquely themselves and proud to be a part of their specific culture. I know the fact that in American culture weddings, when we like throw the bouquet for some of the girls who are not married to catch, that's kind of a ritual. And I think things like that are really neat and very specific to our culture or to my culture, and the fact that I wear a white dress down the wedding aisle, and the significance of that is kind of specific to my culture. So only learning about your culture's wedding rituals, in my opinion, is just very exclusive and does not create any kind of intercultural communication. So, you know, life's boring if you're only sitting here learning about your culture's wedding and literally no one else's, because we have a huge world. And so it's very important to learn about others and what's important to them. Different cultures and wedding rituals. So every culture has their own customs and rituals. Wedding traditions tend to be very different in every culture, absolutely. And here I have some examples of different wedding customs from brides.com. So for example, in Indonesia, the couple spends the first 3 days together at home in order to test their bond together. In Norway, the bride wears a silver and gold crown that will keep away evil spirits. In Mexico, I absolutely love this one. The couple has a lasso that is actually put around their neck so that this creates their bond and the significance of their unity. So it symbolizes their unity. In France, the couple must consume chocolate and champagne, but wait, they have to eat it or drink it out of a toilet bowl, which I think is a very interesting one. So there's just a few, but there are many, many different rituals for different cultures on thebrides.com. So definitely go take a look at that after the presentation. So moving on, wedding rituals in China. So I would just like to focus, kind of hone in on China, and they have many wedding rituals in their culture. So the wedding culture here is very big, and people go all out, not only for the couple, but also for the family. So they have a lot of respect for the bride's family or the groom's family, and this is what makes the wedding so big and spectacular. So brides wear red on their wedding day in China. They actually will wear 3 to 4 dresses, meaning they will wear like a red tight dress down the wedding aisle. They may change into a bigger ball gown dress and then into a cocktail dress to leave the wedding. So it's very interesting that in China, red is their significant color for brides to wear, whereas in American culture weddings, typically it is a white dress. So as you would not show up to a wedding wearing a white dress to upstage the bride, here in American culture, you would absolutely not wear a red dress to a wedding in China. So it is tradition for people to actually give money in red envelopes. So they will not give anything though that is an odd number or ends in a 4. That's just bad luck. And so that is a really neat thing. They don't give any other gifts. It's only proper to bring the red envelope with money. And these weddings can last anywhere from 4 hours to 3 days, just kind of depending on the bride and what she wants to do. So according to culturalawareness.com, Chinese weddings are a blend of Western influence and traditional customs. Many of the characteristics, such as the predominant use of red, are unique to Chinese ceremonies. But if you look deeper, you'll find roots in traditional culture that go back for actually thousands of years. So now moving on to the history of wedding rituals in China. So the ceremony actually comes from China's 5,000-year history, which includes more than 2,000 years of feudal society, according to culturalawareness.com. So as we just talked about, the bride wears a red dress and covers her face with a red veil. Red symbolizes good luck, happiness, and prosperity, so this is obviously why red is so important to them. Most marriages at first back in history were actually arranged, and the groom would come to see his bride and people would visit with them in a room, and then he would release the veil and then they would start their marriage together. So this was more of a tradition back in the day in history, and now it's definitely been influenced more so by Western culture. So some examples. In the Chinese culture, a husband will shoot his bride with a bow and headless arrow several times to show that their love actually lasts forever. The bride's family will hire a good luck woman to travel around with the bride on the wedding day. Chinese bridesmaids will give the groom a very hard time on the morning of their wedding to see if he's worthy of the bride. So these are just some interesting facts about rituals. Intercultural communication. So according to the book, embracing differences actually promotes learning. Although cultural differences can sometimes seem difficult, they are often good opportunities for learning about yourself, about the other, and about new and interesting aspects of culture. Weddings are interesting aspects of culture because they create the bond between a man and a woman. Being able to relate to one another in different cultures decreases any judgment, and there are weddings in every culture, therefore there is some overlap in relation to that. It's important to become interculturally competent so that when you're in a professional career, you're able to understand others to a certain degree and not just say, oh, I don't know how to help them because they're from a different culture. So advocacy involves communication and action. Creating intercultural communication and learning about other cultures' rituals is so very important. So determine your own cultural identities, understand the identities of others, and intercommunicate about these identities. Here are my references. Thank you.